Hey, that's the name of the game! Also, we're in the halls of Aurelus. Not Aurelus Castle, no, just the entirety of Aurelus. I wouldn't really call that shattering their main force. I mean, they sent like 10 guys after us. They weren't really trying at all. Gee, and if there are treasures in the castle, I wonder if anybody in particular would be interested in those. Grumbled one of Marth's men who had never met Julian before. Well, Julian's not dead, so yes, we have a thief. Oh boy, though, this chapter. I don't like this chapter at all. When I first played this game back in the day, this is the chapter that made me stop playing for a while. So, as such, not really a huge fan of it. You can probably see what's going to be going on here. There are enemy thieves and there are treasure chests. And there's also a thief right here who should look very familiar. We'll get to him in a moment, though. First, a word from our boss. Yeah, didn't you hear me killing the other guy, and his last words were, "Arg, it's not over yet." He kind of implied you'd be a tough guy, but you are preparing to run. He's kind of trying to be the biggest dick, though. He's just sending out thieves to take all the treasures so he can run away with them, when I want the treasures instead. Seriously, what a jerk. Alright, so I'm just going to be sending my guys forward as fast as possible. We want to take care of these enemies, and we want to take care of them fast, so that we can send our units in, so we can take out those thieves as soon as possible. I am going to need to take a turn to send Rickard to, or not Rickard, I want to send Julian in to get Rickard, because the two do know each other. That is going to take them out of the way of the fight for a turn or two, unfortunately, but that doesn't matter too much. What matters more is that we kill the enemy thieves first, and make sure to kill them before they take too much, because that would be trouble if they did. And unfortunately, I'm not really going to have the best strategy here. I'm going to be taking a lot of damage, and I probably should have brought in another healer. That would have been a good idea. But, nonetheless, we want our strongest units first, we want to kill the knights as soon as possible. We do need to take them out soon, because they are going to clutter up these halls, and the thing is, knights do work best indoors in situations like this, not out in plains where they get left behind by everyone else, but no, here where they're a huge nuisance. Also, I gotta say, this conversation is probably some of the better writing in Shadow Dragon, other than like the Marth and Harden conversation. I do actually like the way Rickard is written. And then I got caught. Hilarious, right? Comedy gold. Happens to me all the time. No, serious. I go into a castle, I get caught. It's like my thing. Have you ever been in the Thieves' Gang of Justice, Rickard? I don't think you have. She's right outside the door. Keep it down. I mean, it's not like you're doing anything else. Yeah, we got a lot of chests to open, and you can't keep the stuff, alright? But I'm letting you out of jail. Therefore, it's a good deal for you. Trust me on this one. Rickard here is our second thief, and unfortunately, if Julian's still around, then he's almost completely useless. Neither his starting stats or his growth rates are actually better than Julian's. So all in all, there's not really much of a reason to use him. Now, if you need two thieves for a chapter for any reason, then sure, yeah, use Rickard, but other than that, just don't bother. He's pretty much going to be useful for this mission and this mission only. Because there are, as I said, a lot of chests to open, so he and Julian are going to work together. It's especially good since he got a head start. Alright, so, you definitely want to take out this mage. First and foremost, whatever you do, make sure this guy's dead because he's accurate, he's got a Thunder Tome, and he hurts. I also want a unit to go in and block the way to that door, just to tank a bunch of hits. If I could have gotten bored there in time, it might have been a good idea to use him just because he's a huge powerhouse, but whatever, I just need someone there. Someone needs to take a lot of hits, and then someone needs to charge the thieves. This is slightly luck-based the way I'm doing it, but it is a decent method to be able to kill thieves in time. I say decent method, but it's kind of unreliable. On my other file, this didn't work out nearly as well, and I damn got a few characters killed, which I know is kind of the thing that's supposed to happen again and again and again. But I think part of the problem is I wasn't able to send 2 units up here when, at least here I was able to get Kane up and kill a couple archers. I don't remember exactly what I did. It might have been my formation, but I'm not quite sure. Either way, though, you're not going to stop a few thieves from reaching you. Like that one, but thankfully he didn't steal money, and as such, we can take that back. And we do get a close call here, but thankfully, since we were able to kill that archer, there's nothing they can actually do to finish us. So we just barely got him in time. Now the problem is, though, we have to take care of those guys up there, which is going to be problematic, because there are a lot of enemies. You definitely want to be taking a fighter in, because they do the most damage, but it's not exactly half a bad idea to try to have as many hammers as possible as well. Of course, I don't have, well, I do have multiple fighters, I'm not using them because I'm stubborn. If this works, then yeah, this should work. Everything managed to work out for the best, which is good. As I said before, though, this was originally the chapter that made me stop playing Shadow Dragon, and I'll be honest, I don't know how I don't really know how to word this. Got good at it? I wouldn't exactly call myself good, but I don't know, something just clicked when I was playing for the first, or second time, really. But I was playing this fairly early. I think when I first played Shadow Dragon, I had only played 8 for sure, since that was my first, and I'm pretty sure I'd played 7 at that point, so only 2 Fire Emblem games under my belt. So I didn't really do too well. And again, I don't know what changed, but I guess something just clicked where it didn't before? Maybe playing other Fire Emblem games allowed me to sort of get the mindset I needed to do well at this game, but either way, I'm just gonna say that's another case of Shadow Dragon not really being new player friendly. Despite how much it tries to be new player friendly, it's not really friendly to new players. Or hell, it's not even that friendly to old players, if I'm to be completely honest. It's not really the best designed game. I mean, of course, as I said before, we have the reserve units that you can get if you let enough characters die. But the thing is, who's going to let that many characters die? Like, you always need, like, 13 or so units. Most people are going to have more than that, because if they are doing a run where they let people die and just move on, the thing is, they're probably good enough at the game where that doesn't happen that often, it's just tiny stupid mistakes that they make, but all in all they're not going to make that many dumb mistakes because usually the people playing the game like that are the veteran players. New players, or players who don't really like playing like that, they'll usually restart the chapter even if they lose a single unit. I should know, that's exactly what I do. Because I don't want to lose anyone, whether I'm playing casually or for a playthrough like this, I don't want anyone dead. So that does, I mean, certainly it does make it so I have to replay certain chapters, because I always make stupid mistakes, but nonetheless, I'm not losing anyone, so I'm sure as hell never going to run into the reserve units under normal circumstances. So really, despite the fact that it's kind of a system made for new players, who's ever going to use it? There's also another thing that's for new players, and this is a thing that I know I've mentioned before this point. You've heard me say it's the Gaiden chapters. I bring this up because this is actually the first chapter in which we can access a Gaiden chapter. Gaiden chapters are side chapters that have been in since, I think they've been in from game to game. The first one I can remember is, Fire Emblem 7. I think there might have been a game or two before that that had side chapters, but, from game to game, the requirements to access these chapters changes up. In this game, it is easily at its worst. You want to know how you access Gaiden chapters in this game? At any point at which you're at a chapter that has a Gaiden chapter following it, you have to have 15 or fewer characters. That's why I have another file where I'm actively killing people off, cause it's necessary. But again, may I ask, who's going to let that happen? Who is bad enough at the game where they're going to have that few units? Again, veterans, they're not going to let that happen. New players, or just players who don't want to lose people, they're not going to lose that many people. There's not really going to be a point, unless you're actively trying, where you're going to have less than 15 units. I had to kill off so many units before this chapter. Just so many units. You can count them up yourself if you want, but we have had a lot of people in our group, and it's really annoying. It's kinda like Norn, how you had to sacrifice a few characters, but here, no, you just have to actively have them dead. There's one Gaiden chapter in the game where you don't have to have 15 or fewer units in order to access it. Someone still has to die for it, though. There is a trick to that one, but that's going to be much later on. So we're not going to be paying attention to that one just yet, since it's not going to be important. Needless to say, though, it is easily one of my least favorite parts of this game. Because I don't like killing people off, and under any normal run, I would not do that. I would not bother with the Gaiden chapters, because the thing is, they do give you new characters, but those new characters aren't really that good from what I know. They're not worth killing off everyone in order to get them. And of course, they are all characters that are unique to Shadow Dragon. They weren't in the original. I think that should go without saying, but Fire Emblem 12, though, the game after that, which is actually a remake of the sequel to this game, it does it much better. That game does have its own side chapters, but the requirements are different and they're so much better, and they don't require you kill people off to get them. Because that's just dumb. I'd say it's rewarding failure, but it's not really a reward. It's more of a punishment than anything else, and not even a good punishment, because it's a punishment no one's ever going to see, again, unless they actively try. I'm pretty sure you could ask anybody and they'd just say, oh yeah, I'm not going to get those Gaiden chapters because I don't want to kill people off. But for the sake of this playthrough, I'm gonna have to. At least the chapter's mostly done. As I said before, other than that really difficult bit at the beginning, it's not too bad. It's pretty much just the usual lure enemies out, pick them off. You've got plenty of units to do so, it shouldn't be too bad, the enemies aren't too tough. It's just the sort of chapter style that we saw in Thieves' Gang of Justice, or Thieves' Justices as it was translated in that version. But yeah, it's kind of one of my least favorite concepts for a chapter in Fire Emblem games. A chapter that really should be taken slowly, but for some reason you have to do it quickly, either to save a character, or in this case, in order to get as much treasure as possible. Sure, you don't need the treasure, but come on, it's right there. I want it so badly. It's the reason I don't really like the fourth game, Genealogy: The Holy War, because a lot of the game is just that. Brigands will attack villages which aren't destroyed in a single turn like they are in most of the games, but nonetheless, it's a game you want to take slowly because enemy units are tough. But it makes you rush everything. But I won't get too into that because there are a lot of complaints I have about that game. This guy, like the previous guy, pretty tough. If you have a rapier or hammer, he's very easy and goes down like nothing. For everyone else, it's pretty hard for them to do any damage at all, so they probably won't be killing him. I'd pretty much just suggest trying to get in all the damage you can just to get a tiny little amount of experience, and then just finishing him up with Marth or whatever your fighter you're using. Ooh, even Marth isn't doing that much damage. I'm sure Board will do a lot of damage, though. Yep, oh wow, just enough to kill him. I really should stop saying that Board needs levels, 'cause I don't think he does at this point. He's kind of one of my highest leveled characters, actually. But, unless anyone else wants to do anything, I think we're just gonna end this off here. Good, and bye. Why? I don't want to die. And Board gains another level. I don't think he needs experience anymore. That was also a pretty good level. Oh, and if for some reason you couldn't open any of the chests, that Master Lock will open both doors and chests, but I don't need it. Should be obvious, but I opened all the chests I could, so we're done here. At long last, I am Nina. Before I was not Nina, but now I am again. Oh yeah, sure, I'll just lead this entire army. No problem. A true champion? But what about the Champions of oh wait, no, that was the last chapter title. Whoops, silly me. Cause if you don't, we're all dead. Oh, well, that was anticlimactic.